in Seattle yesterday drew a crowd of about 300. And get this, it was mostly kids. They want to change federal immigration law so families won't be separated as a result of raids and arrests of illegals. More than 50 illegals were recently detained at 2 UPS warehouses in Auburn, Washington. Many have been deported, but apparently this didn't sit well with the kids of Seattle. Unbelievable. Joining us now from Fort Worth, Texas, immigration law attorney Francisco Hernandez. And from Boston, Susan Church, also an immigration law attorney who represented several of the illegals detained in the recent New Bedford raids. Mr. Hernandez, I want to start with you. Look, we may have very divergent views on immigration enforcement and illegal immigration, but can we all agree here that using children as political pawns is just beyond the pale?
Well, Ms. Malkin, I don't think it's using children. I think we're finally seeing the other side of the coin of this immigration media coverage. Where was the media to cover all of these United States citizens that were unemployed, lining up to take all of these jobs from these places that were raided? There were no lines. And all of these media images of these people being chased by immigration officials, they give people in this country the wrong impression that all we're dealing with is potential terrorists and criminals coming over here. These are folks that have families, have paid taxes, contribute to their society, and we're leaving these children broke. And what is the weight that that's going to put on our social services when these children who are United States citizens have to go on aid to families with dependent children because their fathers were deported as a failure of us to implement some kind of reasonable immigration reform?
Mr. Hernandez, with all due respect, I don't know which media you read, because every time you open a major metropolitan newspaper, look at the airwaves on a daily basis, the news is always reported from the perspective of illegal aliens, and oh, isn't it terrible that if you enforce the law, you'll split up families. That's what we get every day. What we don't get is the consequences and the impact that massive illegal immigration and lax immigration enforcement has on a lot of workers in this country, on the people who are being displaced, and on the national security angle. So I'm not really understanding why you think it's okay to drag these kids out in front of the cameras when you could be arguing your case on a solid adult basis.
On a solid adult basis, but you just made the point that I made earlier, that where were all of these United States citizens lining up for these meat packing plant jobs?
No. Hold on right there.
Sure.
Because in Denver, the day after the Denver raids, guess what? They were talking about Americans who were lining up and law-abiding immigrants who were lining up to take those jobs. I guess you missed that story.
I've certainly missed that coverage. I don't believe there was any, but I'll stand corrected if you say so.
I want to get Susan in here, and I want to get your perspective on another angle on this story. In a lot of cities, there are so-called sanctuary policies. It's something that Bill O'Reilly has talked about on this program many, many times. And I want to get your view on a lot of the movement now from grassroots citizens to challenge police departments who have adopted these policies.
These sanctuary cities, Michelle, are a direct reaction to the violent, overzealous, draconian enforcement of immigration laws currently being perpetrated by this administration to prove that they are tough on immigration, to pass what everybody or most people agree is needed, which is comprehensive immigration reform. These sanctuary cities, through the power of democracy, voted in these sanctuaries, and it's not a sanctuary where no illegal immigrant can be arrested. It's a sanctuary so that immigrants can feel safe reporting crimes to police, so that immigrants can live in without fear on a day-to-day basis. In the cities without a sanctuary law, immigrants don't even report robberies, won't act as witnesses when the police try to prosecute crimes. These sanctuary cities are designed so that crimes can be prosecuted, so that victims can be protected, and so that a climate of fear doesn't pervade the city. And you have to be clear, they're put in by the politicians of those towns who are elected officials. If the people in the town don't like it or the city don't like it, they can vote the politicians out of office. It's nothing but democracy at work. And I don't know of any of these sanctuary cities who have actually decided it was a mistake. We don't like living in a climate that's free of fear. We're going to take our sanctuary laws back. And really what it is the federal government is supposed to be the one who enforces immigration laws. State and local officials honestly cannot interpret and read immigration laws correctly to...